if you have kids or not, you probably know what Monster High is. And you've probably seen, if you watch Nickelodeon a lot like you do in my house with my 3 kids, Monster High, the movie, is going to be coming out on October the 6th on Nickelodeon and on Paramount Plus. And Cleo De Nile has graced us with her presence today. It is Jy Prishkulnik, excuse me. Jy, how you doing?
I'm doing so great, James. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Jy, I don't know how familiar you were with the Monster High franchise or how popular it was when I got this. All I know is when I was at Comic-Con, I was at the Mattel booth and they said free Monster High pins, and then all of a sudden, here came the crowd. So, were you aware of just how popular this franchise was?
I mean, yes and no. I know that the fandom is so diverse and really vast too. There are fans all over the world. I remember growing up seeing the dolls on the shelves at the store, and I remember really wanting them, but my mom thought they were too mature for me. But my cousin had the dolls, and so anytime I went over to her house, we would always play Monster High. And even then, I think I gravitated more towards Cleo.
See, everybody's always got a friend or like a cousin that has the toy that they wanted, so you go over their house like a lot to play with it. I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So Cleo kind of described as the undead diva. It's right there on the poster. So how would you describe her, though?
Okay, I thought a lot about this. I think the 3 best words to describe her are fierce, sophisticated, and misunderstood. We know Cleo is sort of the mean girl. She's really popular. She's like the queen bee energy. But in this reboot, we sort of see a different side of her. And we see how there are so many layers underneath that. I mean, she is a mummy after all.
That is very, very true. So you actually say Queen Bee, which I actually have down right here in one of my questions, actually. So, I mean, she's royal, so that means, Queen Bee energy, like you said. But do you think does she really deep down want to be your leader, though? Does she want that pedestal, you think?
That is a really great question. I know that a lot of her desire for royalty and that sort of attention sort of comes from her sibling rivalry with her older sister Nefera. But whether she really wants it, I think Cleo would make a really great leader. I think she's really good at listening to her peers once she feels accepted. And so I think because of that, she would be really great at taking people's needs and wants into consideration and implementing that in a really fun and immersive way. So I think she would make a really fantastic leader, but I feel like she would also be afraid to fully take on that role.
But never show it, I'm sure.
Oh, of course not. You would
No.
never guess.
Can't do that. Can't do that. So you talk about the whole mean girl thing, and Jy, you're a perfectly wonderful person. I can already tell. So how do you even get in that headspace to play this mean girl? Do you draw from like experiences with girls that you've been involved with in the past, or do you just say, you know what, I'm just going to throw my own spin on this thing and see what happens?
That's a really great question. I actually just saw the movie for the first time last night, private screening, and I was able to bring my dad. And he pointed out how Cleo is not unlike some of the other roles that I've played in the past, such as Luna in Disney Plus's Just Beyond, and this feature film I did ages ago called Sense, where I was sort of the queen bee mean girl. So I think I am definitely able to draw a lot on those characters and sort of plug in that way. But I'm always learning in acting class that the moment you judge a character, you can never play it. You're taking a step back from the character. So when I'm looking at Cleo, I don't look at her as a mean girl. I'm looking at her actions and her words and the way that other characters describe her, and I'm seeing, okay, what makes this person do what they do? How can I justify her actions? So me personally, I don't really see her as a mean girl. I mean, now objectively watching the movie, I can be like, that was a little mean. That was a little sassy. But in order to really take on the character, you have to think, why are they doing these things? Because everything has to make sense from their perspective.
That makes a whole lot of sense, and I like sassy. Just replace it with
Yes.
sassy, and you got a whole different perspective on it.
That's right.
I love that. I love it. So we see in the trailer, at least the last trailer that we saw, that Cleo actually says in the trailer that the biggest threat to monsters is humans. So how much is that, of course, no spoilers, going to be a part
Yeah.
of the story of this movie?
How can I respond without spoiling anything? Well, I think it's also mentioned in the trailer that Claudine is sort of battling with these two sides of herself, right? There's the werewolf side and the human side. So I think that's sort of where the fear of humans comes into play here. But I don't want to spoil too much. Mostly it's about identity, discovering your own identity, feeling confident in it, and reclaiming it and celebrating it.
And that's certainly what Monster High has been about from the beginning. So that is definitely a good way to put it. Talking to Jy Prishkulnik, who of course plays Cleo on Monster High the movie. We're going to see that on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus on October the 6th. You mentioned Claudine, and I know that, again, she's the mean girl, but how do you, not necessarily how does she get along with the other girls, because I think we kind of figure that, but how do you think she really views the other girls like Claudine and Frankie?
I think at first Cleo feels threatened because she's sort of been around this community. Everyone's entering in as a freshman. However, Cleo has her older sister and her father who is, sort of introduced her to this community already. So I think she feels some status in that respect as well. And Claudine and Frankie are introduced as these new ghouls at school, right? So I think automatically Cleo wants to sort of exert her power and show, I know what's going on here. But over the course of the movie, we'll see how their relationships develop and deepen.
Interesting. Now, Jy, I see that things get musical probably more than once throughout the movie. We see that in the trailer as well. So did you get to put some of that dance training to good use or what?
I did. Oh my gosh. This was the most fun. I've never done a film musical before. So yeah, we had about 2 weeks of boot camp before we actually started shooting, where we had to learn all the dances in 2 weeks, and then we had to put on 6 to 8 inch heels and dance in the heels. So I remember the first day we were doing the simplest dance, and I went home just sweating and crying, like, how am I gonna do this in heels? But by the end of it, I mean, everyone was just so supportive, and we were all going through it together that by the end of it, I was just popping and locking, 8 inches off the ground, like it was nothing.
That's awesome. Speaking of everybody kind of being in it, what was it like working with the rest of the young cast, with Cece and Mia and some of the others? Because it just looks like, just in the movie, you guys are having fun. I can't imagine what it was like when the cameras weren't rolling.
Oh my gosh. Truly one of the best experiences I've ever had on set. And we were just talking about this last night when we got to see the movie together. Not every set is like that. Not every set is full of people who you are really excited to show up at work with at 3 o'clock in the morning every single day.
That's a tough ask.
Definitely. But this particular bunch, I mean, not only the cast, also the crew and everyone we got to work with, our amazing director and producer, everyone was just so excited to be there. And I think even during the shoot, we all knew how special what we were doing was going to be. And we were just so grateful to be a part of it and to contribute our voices and our artistic expressions to this already rich and amazing universe. So it was, I don't have a single bad word to say about any of them.
I can only imagine. We talked about the character's been around for a while, and Cleo's look a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. So talk about what the process was like working with the design team and coming up with this look, which I think is really nice.
Yes. Yeah, I've been reading a lot online about how fans are putting together that this look in the poster is similar to Cleo's iconic full look in Boo York, Boo York. And I don't actually know if that was the inspiration, but I wouldn't be surprised because our wardrobe team was just so well read in the universe, and they were taking inspiration from everywhere. But what I will say is, I mean, so much thought went into every single element of everyone's costumes. In the poster that we see here, the neck piece that Cleo wears with all the intricate beading is actually from Egypt. It was handmade in Egypt. And that wasn't the only piece that was imported from Egypt for Cleo's look. So everything was super thoughtful. The skirt that Cleo wears there was handmade in-house by our very own fine Italian tailor who made a lot of our costumes. Yeah.
That's incredible. That is so incredible. So, I mean, you've got the Mattel name on this too, Jy, and I can't help but wonder, are there new dolls, new toys coming out based on Cleo? And if there are, have you seen them yet?
Yes. I mean, I saw the Haunt Couture doll. I'm not sure if that's based on the live action. And then I know that there have been a few leaked images of the upcoming Cleo dolls, and I did see a few prototype photos while I was on set, and I was just like, how is this real? I mean, this is insane. This is me as a doll,
That's got to be awesome. And now you're a grown-up, so you can buy as many as you want.
Yes. I'm so excited to stage them and react all those scenes in doll form.
I expect a lot of stop motion videos on TikTok or something now that you say that. Watch her on the gram, watch her on social media, because that has to be coming. Now that has to be a thing. John, before I let you go, I mean, is Cleo a character that you'd like to play again at some point? You said they're entering as freshmen, so I mean, there's certainly seems like there could be expansion here, but would you love to play her again, maybe in live action or even in animation as voiceover if they decided to do that?
Yeah, I mean, any opportunity to step back into those strappy platforms, I will take it. I love Cleo. She really shaped a lot of, my acting process through this role, and it was just so much fun to work with everybody and to be a part of a story like this. I would absolutely be on board for another opportunity to do that.
And just think, if it was animation, you could wear whatever footwear you wanted. You wouldn't have to worry about heels at all.
Come in some jammies and slippers.
See, now you're talking about living the dream. Now you're starting to make me jealous a little bit. But you'll have to find out her look, which is amazing, in Monster High, the movie, which is going to be on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus on October the 6th. I'd say watch it on both, because especially if you've got kids at home, you're going to be watching it like 1 billion times anyway, so just buckle up and get ready.
Yes, the songs just get stuck in your head, so you're going to want to replay the movie again.
Yep, and I'm already ready for that as well. Jy Prishkulnik, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.